Oh, hello, Mr. Monkey. What are you doing on that electric computer machine? Code. Huh? Playing video games? Let me see. Listen up, buddy. I'm harvesting millions of dollars here. It's a bit stressful. Wanna back off, please? Huh? Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're back on Yearn Finance. We're going to take a look at the Sushiswap Vault. So let's take a look, see if we can find it. Sushiswap. There is no Sushiswap Vault. Well, that's because it's not a vault yet. It's a version 2 test vault. Before I show you this and go through this and show you how to deal with this vault, I'm going to talk a little bit about being a strategist, what it takes to make a vault. Okay, so let's go over here for a sec. Here we have the most recent YIP. YIP stands for Yearn Improvement Proposal 52. Now it says make strategist skin in the game partner for make benefit and glorious brain of Yearn, blah 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 blah. What does that mean? Okay, basically what they want to do is they want to create Yearn and strategists out to be equal partners in a vault. So if you take most of these vaults, they're usually, not all of them, but they're usually run or created by a single individual. Some individuals create several of them, but let's say for this one example, maybe one person created this and he wants to manage it, test it, get it going, and he has the idea. So a strategist is a multifunctional person who can code and come up with the strategy of how to make the yield. Okay, so let's go down through this. I'm not going to read through it all. If you want to be a strategist or you're interested in this topic, I would suggest you to come and read this thoroughly. Now again, link is in the description. So going down, you can see this has actually passed, 83% pass and 16% against. So it was passed. So everything I read to you from this is now live. So there's a few reasons why they want to do this, okay, why they want to create the strategist to be equal partners with Yearn. So these are two of the main reasons. One is code base is open source. So that's why there's so many forks. Okay, it's so easy. You can just copy someone else's code and launch it yourself. So what that requires then is it requires innovation to stay ahead of the game, not patents and everything hidden behind a wall, because this is cryptocurrency. Everything's out on the blockchain for everyone to see. The second thing is no stickiness. What stickiness means here is people who actually deposit into the vault can easily get out of the vault. There's no subscriptions. There's no, you don't have to walk into the office and cancel your membership. It just literally just click a button and get out, right? So it's easy to get out. So the only thing that keeps people in is returns and that the vault is performing the way it should be performing. So this requires two things. It requires a good strategy and a good developer. So let's move down. Down we have what makes a good developer to them. So why they want more developers to come? Because developers have a unique set of skills and they're hard to replace, and very important that they retain them, that they stay around, because if they leave, then who's going to manage the vault? Someone else has to manage it for them. And if they're really good at their job, they're really good at setting up the vault, they might set up a new one. They might come up with new strategies. So retaining them is very important, but so is, recruiting them as well. So these are the choices that a strategist has currently. So you could come and work for Yearn, right? So you could come up with a strategy and get it on Yearn. You could go for a competitor, or you could, go to a competing project and create your own, right? Or you can just go one wolf, just do it all solo, which is pretty hard. So usually these are the two main choices, go somewhere else or go to Yearn. So those are the choices that Yearn has laid out in this proposal. So how they are today, like now this is no longer today, we'll call this yesterday, okay? How things were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or so forth. All the money in the vaults, so all the money under management, 2% of it is called a management fee, and that goes to the treasury. I'm not going to get into too much about the treasury, but basically the treasury needs money to do things. It needs to pay for all kinds of things like audits and, website development and all this kind of stuff. So the treasury does need money. So 2% of the assets under management go to the treasury. Now, this is more vault specific, the performance fee. Now, this is 20% of the profit of the vault is retained by the vault. Now, in the past, 19.5 went to the treasury and 0.5 went to the strategy creator, so the vault designer. Now, a lot of this, a lot of strategists were not even breaking even at times, so this is an issue. Strategist goes through all the hard work to build up a code, and he's left with not even breaking even, so a loss of money. That's not going to keep people around, okay? So go down. So here's a good example of 2 vaults. Now, what they used was the USD, the kingpin vault, if you will. And in the past, the strategist would have made $46,000 if he designed that vault and ran it for, I believe this time period is from inception, but it could be 3 months or so, but it's almost the same, right? 3 or 4 months, I'm not sure. So anyways, but you get the point, right? 43,000 for the guy who made the USD vault, if he, anyhow. So the new proposed selection is he will make almost $250,000. So like almost $1 million. It's pretty good, right? That would definitely incentivize people to come and stay and keep working on vaults. So as I said, so now 20% of this performance fee. So that's up here. This is the management fee that I talked about before. That will, basically 2% of all the assets under management go to the treasury, and half of the performance fee goes to the treasury. The treasury needs a lot of money for different things, okay? So 10% of the 20%, so half of the 20% will go to the treasury, and half of the 20% goes to the strategist. So this is pretty good. Sounds pretty appealing to a strategist, especially a number like this if your vault gets as popular as the USD vault is, which is probably the biggest one in the whole repertoire. So this is the incentivizing of why people will want to become a strategist with Yearn now. And I think it's a pretty good incentive. So where to start? What I would suggest you start is heading over to the Discord. You can find the Discord down here at the bottom of the main website. Discord, click here, add, join the Discord, and then go down to Vault or Strategies and talk in there. There's quite a few people in here that will help you out and answer your questions and get you going. Just go in there, lurk around for a while, ask questions, and see what kind of answers you get. Okay, so those are the 2 suggestion places where I think you should start. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 people that I currently talk to that are building strategies and are both running test vaults now. So this is Andy. Andy's the guy who, you can follow his Twitter if you want. He's the guy who designed the Sushiswap vault that I am currently going to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about after I talk about him and the other guy. Okay, so you can follow him and you can talk to him, maybe approach him. I'm not sure. You can ask him how he did it, or here he is. Okay, Carlos is another one. He's the person who designed the Hedgic vault, which I explained in another video right here. Feel free to take a look at that if you haven't seen it already. Now, Carlos, and I have been talking quite a bit, and he shared some things with me, and this is an example of one of his scripts. Now, this is, you have to basically be able to do this. This doesn't look too bad, 168 pages, but this is very well designed, okay? And there's a lot of contracts, little pieces pulled out from other places. So he got help, and he knows what he's doing, so he was able to find functions and stuff like that, and was able to produce this. And it's in testing right now, and it's doing pretty well. Actually, it's almost finished testing. So onwards. So let's take a look at the Sushiswap vault now that Andy designed. So as usual, I have this flowchart here set up that I will go through for you. So a Yearn user has some ETH and DAI, or, you know, he's going to need ETH and DAI to do this vault though. So he can't use one or the other like usual. So he's got some ETH and DAI. Maybe he needs to swap for 50-50 ETH and DAI somewhere. And then he will just go over to Sushiswap and stake those ETH and DAI into Sushiswap to get an LP token. So let's do that. Let's swing over there and take a look at how to do that. So you come over to Sushiswap. I'll put this link to this in the description as well. And you come over right here, exchange, click that. Now Sushiswap is a fork of Uniswap, and I'm sure some of you know about it, maybe some of you don't, but it's a fork of Uniswap, and this is basically what I said about before. The code is open source. Anyone can fork. It's not illegal. There's nothing wrong with it. You just do it. Okay? So they forked Uniswap. So if you're familiar with Uniswap, you'll know how to do this, but I'll still go through it. So swap. This is where you could swap tokens. If you only had ETH, you could swap and get a little bit DAI. So I need some DAI. So I would go half and half. So I would swap some of my ETH for some of my DAI and make sure I had equal portion of DAI and ETH based on the value of them. So you remember, I have to keep some ETH in order to pay gas fees. So let's say I had 1 ETH here. I could swap 0.5 ETH and get some DAI, and then I would have 50-50, and I would have still 5,296 left over for gas, right? So I get half and half. Then I come into the pool, add liquidity, and this is where you need to choose the 2 tokens. So I would choose ETH, and I would come down here, and I would find DAI, and then I would just push max if I didn't have a whole bunch of DAI, and put them in there. And then, so let's put it in here anyways. And I could approve DAI, so I have to pay a small fee to approve spending DAI, and then I can supply it, okay? And then once I supply it, then we'll go back to the flowchart and see what happens. So the user has supplied both ETH and DAI to Sushiswap and gotten back his LP token. Now what's next? Now he takes that LP token and he sticks it in the Yearn vault. Now, unfortunately, there is no user interface to stick in this vault because it's in test right now. So, but there will be, as long as this vault doesn't produce any issues or problems and is sustainable. They will put it into the main user interface. But if you really want to now, you could possibly get in by using the smart contracts. But don't worry about that right now. So you put your LP token in here, and this vault, this Yearn vault, will give you back a Yearn LP token. So I'm not going to go through the names of them because they're not even in existence and they might change, but I've signified it with this. So this goes into your MetaMask wallet, and then you have this token in your MetaMask wallet, and the price of the value of this token will constantly go up as this accumulates more and more and more and more of these tokens here. Okay, so when you cash in this token, you will get back the amount of these tokens you put in plus the growth, right? And then you can take this token back to Sushiswap and remove it from liquidity. Okay, before I talk about what the vault will do with the LP tokens, I should talk about the the Sushiswap user. Some Sushiswap user will come here and do swaps for ETH and DAI, or swap from ETH to DAI or DAI from ETH, and every one of these tokens that we've put in here, every one of these tokens is increased in value because there's some fees that this person has to pay, and those fees go into this pool, the pool for this token, and these tokens become more and more and more valuable. Okay, so these tokens that are becoming more and more valuable, they're in here and also growing based on the vault. Okay, so what is the vault going to do? The vault's going to take those LP tokens and stake them into Uniswap LP staking. This is a farm, okay? So let's go back to Sushiswap and take a look at what staking I'm talking about. Okay, here on the main Sushiswap website, you go to menu or home and go to menu. Now that sounds strange. This menu like in a restaurant menu. And you go down and you find DAI ETH. So it's going to stick that LP token in here. Okay, DAI ETH SLP. So that's a Sushiswap LP token. Stick it in here and it's going to start earning sushi. Okay, back to the flowchart. So that's what this shows. He stuck that LP token, this one here, into the farm, and then the farm starts producing sushi tokens and giving them to the vault. Now, the vault doesn't want these sushi tokens, it wants more of these tokens. So what is it going to do? So what is it going to do with the tokens that it does not want, these sushi tokens it does not want? It's going to carry them back over to Sushiswap exchange, the same place we went here to put the pools. So it's going to take them back over there and swap them, right? Now remember, when it does a swap here for ETH and DAI, it's going to probably, I think it's going to turn it into ETH and then swap half the ETH for DAI, so that it's actually producing a small amount of fees here for the LP tokens. And if not, I'm going to suggest it to the strategist to make sure he's not swapping pure sushi half for DAI and half for ETH, because he will be interacting with the DAI sushi pool and the ETH sushi pool instead of going ETH and then taking ETH and interacting with the pool that he has supplied liquidity to get a few more fees. I'm not sure if it mathematically works out better or not. I will talk to him about this. So then I'm going to have, so eventually somehow he's going to swap these sushi tokens for 50-50 DAI and ETH and stick them right back into that liquidity pool. Then those liquidity pools will give them another liquidity pool token that will go in here. Now, like I said, the purpose of this vault is to increase these liquidity pool tokens to the people who have the vault key tokens. So this is how it's producing the yield. I hope this is useful for you, and feel free to, if you want to maybe support this Yearn vault, you can get in contact with Andy through the Twitter like I showed you, or you can just watch and see what happens and wait for it to come out into the user interface. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. If you made it this far through the video, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. Now, if you want, you'll notice that you could always subscribe to my channel. If you may have noticed that my thumbnails have changed. Now, this is because I got a new microphone and it's improved my audio quite a bit. I hope you guys have noticed. All of these old videos, if you see the brownish, grayish here, those are my old videos. The sound quality is quite it's bad. So if you want to watch them, go ahead, but I'm going to try to remake some of them, maybe not, but sometimes I'll link to these, and if you go to the links, then I apologize for the sound quality. Now, if you would like to support the channel, you can subscribe, you can like, you can comment below, you can come and check out my Twitter. I only ever tweet about cryptocurrency related topics, so you feel free to join me there. Link in the description. The final way you can help me is you can head over to Rarible and pick up a NTF if you like. I try to make them cheap. I'm going to try to make some new ones as well. These don't seem to be too popular. But if you feel like throwing me a few bucks, grab an NTF. Get an NTF out of the deal. So these are all of the links are in the description for these places. So feel free to check them out. And thank you again. Goodbye.